Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So I've got a masculine project for you. This is my prototype and I made it for a blog hop, the Ink Stamps Share blog hop, and it was men and boys. So I went for a sort of a wallet style card. The idea is to have a little gift card in there, and then you've got some little cards there ready for you to sort of write a message or put anything on it that you want. That's another little pocket there, which didn't stick down very well. So yeah, that's what I made. Now I made this in one piece and folded it, and it was a little bit awkward, so I'm changing it a bit. That's why I make prototypes sometimes if I'm trying something new out. So we're going to do this one in 2 bits. So I'm using cinnamon cider and I'm going to cut it with you so you can see how to get the best out. So we want a piece that's 9 by 4 1/8, just so it's half, so we can get it all out of one sheet. So I'm going to cut that at 9 inches. We'll use that again, and then we'll cut down here at 4 1/8, which is half. So that's our outside of our wallet, and then for the inside we take this piece still at 9 and we'll cut at 3. And then we have a little strip there that is just a little bit over 1 inch. I'm going to cut it down to 1 inch because that will do our little flaps. So we want 1 inch by 3 inches for the closure, and then 1 inch by 1 1/2, just to do the little mat on the top. And then for the inside pockets we want 4 inches by 2 1/2. So if we cut that down to 2 1/2, like so, and then we cut them down to 4. So that's how you cut all the bits you need out of the one sheet. Okay, obviously we need a bit of Very Vanilla, and the Very Vanilla mats are 3 3/4 rather by 3 3/4. So just didn't like the way that was. We'll go that way. 3 3/4 there. Right, 3 3/4. So those are the 2 big mats at the back, and then the little one for the window pocket is 2 1/4 by 3 3/4, 3 5/8. And that we just then need a little bit of window sheet, which I haven't got with me. I've put window sheet in it to make it look like you get in a wallet. You could use something else, but this is what I've gone for. So 3 5/8, so we're all right that way, by 2 1/4. So I'm going to cut that down 2 1/4 there, and then 3 5/8. Need my glasses really. So that is all our bits. for our wallet. I just wanted to show you the cutting of it. Okay, all the measurements of everything will be over on nigezza.co.uk. Now then we need to do some embossing. So we are going to emboss the outside, and we're going to emboss the two little pockets that go on there. We're not embossing this one, so they're going to get stuck together like that, like that, like that, and like that. So we'll emboss the outside and that one, but not the one in the middle. Okay, I'm going to score it first so that I know where the middle of this is. So it's 9 inches, so we're going to score it at 4.5. I'm going to score this one whilst I'm about it. Okay, so now I know where the centre point is on there, and I'm going to take my old world paper embossing folder, and obviously we can't do it all, so I'm just going to put that up to the centre, and I'm going to score that up, emboss that, run it through, then turn it round and run it through again. So that's how I'm going to do that, and those two will just emboss together quite nicely. So I'm going to get the embossing done. So there it is, all embossed. So that will fold quite nicely now. I forgot to mention that I did cut the centre of that out. I used a stitched rectangle. I used the third smallest. You could use trimmer. Got that now for another thing. I've got so many like stitched rectangles cut out. I really ought to do a project with them. So they're all done like so. So just gonna get my trimmer so I've got a nice butted edge up there for just giving that a bit of a burnish, like so. And I'm gonna just fold and burnish that. There we go. So that's the outside, that's the inside. Could go the other way, to be fair. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I think I will. And then this is going to get stuck on the inside, and what we're going to actually do is trim a small amount off that, because they're exactly the same size, but when it folds, you've got the score lines and it will protrude just a tiny bit. So I want to just trim like a 1/16 off it to allow. So it's a little bit like when you're making a box and you want a lid on it, you go just sort of a 1/16. So they are so it's 4.5. So we go in a 1/16. That will be what we want to take off. To make that fit better. When you take such a small amount off, sometimes you do get fluffy edges. You could cut this, just thought about it right now, you could cut this to be 1/8 of an inch short, so it's 7 7/8, 8 7/8 even, folded in half, and then it would be the right size. So that will now close up, and we're not sticking out, maybe just a tiny tad. So you might want to just a little bit of trial and error there on what you what you need to take off. There. Perfect. That'll do nicely. So you could do this so that you put money in it, as opposed to a gift card. In my prototype, I glued down the middle, but I'm not going to on this one, because I say you could do it so that you put money in there. And so I sort of thought I'd leave it like a real wallet. What I did was I did a little bit of inking around the edges to give it a sort of a bit of a worn look. So I'm going to do that. So I'll bring in a bit of a scrap here that I use for inking and distressing. So I get my sponge here, and I've used early espresso on this just to give it a sort of a darker colour. So you could use the same colour, but I just wanted that little bit different. So I'm just going to go over the corners. Because those are the bits I think you get most wear on of a wallet. I love this embossing folder. I think it's just so cool. And I might just do a little bit. On the edge there. Okay, now we do want some sponging on the fastening. So this is our fastener that we're going to have. So I want to round the corners. So I've got my little detailed trio punch, and that sort of gives us a nice sort of rounded edge there. This one, oh, I just remembered now that when I did it last time, I cut it down afterwards because it's because you haven't got anything to hold on to. So we'll do a long bit and then we'll trim it down. I did that really badly. Can't find the other one. I think I might have put it away there. I'm not sure if I've cut that straight. So you've got to make sure that you're butted right in. It feels like it's not in there. There, I can see it there. It is now. Oh, it's not. That's better. So then we can just this is going to be the bit that goes on the top. So I'm just going to distress this a little bit because that's the bit that will stick on there and would be the bit that you hold. So we're going to trim that down to 1.5 to sit on the top. Going to go slightly under the 1.5. Going to go a 1/16 under. That's that. And I drew some faux stitching around this. So I used the early espresso Stampin' Right marker, and I just went round just little dashes to make it look like it's got some stitching. So it's a bit decorative. I do some more faux stitching, but at the moment that will do. So this needs folding in half. So I'm just going to want a neat fold, so I'm going to score it at 1.5. So we've got a nice neat fold there. And this needs sticking on before we put the inside pocket on. So we're going to stick that to the inside, and then the pocket will go on top. So that it will come round and fold over there. And we're going to attach a magnet to make a magnetic closure. You could always use Velcro if you haven't got any magnets. There we go. So we're going to put a magnet under this, and then we're going to put a magnet on here so that it will close, and you won't see it because that will cover it up. Okay, so I'm going to stick a magnet on there. I've got my magnets here. Which I was doing something the other day with magnets. Oh, I was filming the prototype and then it all went Pete-tong. So I gave up. Partly because I couldn't get this off. Yeah, we'll use those two little ones. See how strong they are? Right, so we need glue dot. So that goes on there. So this one needs to go on the underside, but in that position. This was a little bit tricky, it has to be said, but I did get there in the end. So I'm going to put a glue dot on there, and I kind of, if you poke your finger down, it does attract. It does attract it. Okay, so that's our little closure, then you can hear it. I love that. So now we can stick this bit on the top there. What I did was I put a few mini dimensionals around it because it is slightly raised. That's not mini ones, Jez. There we go. So I put that'll do. And then I did put a little bit of Tombow around here as well. For sticking down, you can put a glue dot on top of the magnet as well for sort of extra security. And then that will then stick nicely on top there. So that's our closure. So now we need to put our pocket on. So we're just going to glue round the outside, and I'm going to slightly fold it when I stick it. Put the lid back on, didn't I? So it'll be down each side and then along the bottom. And I'm thinking that this will work out a little bit better than what I did before. So we've got a little bit of wiggle room, lining up the creases there. It comes in a bit, and let's fold it. So So now we're going to stick our pockets on. So we've got one for there and one for there. Oh, before I did that, I drew some faux stitching in on the straight bit. So like we did before, just little dashes. So that's those bits done there. And I just rounded the corner on this to sort of show it is sort of just going to open there on those two sides. I did do a little bit of inking on that, so sort of give the impression that it is something that would be handled. So just a little bit of ink on there. And then we're just going to stick round two sides. And I say my suggestion is a gift card in there, but you could do whatever you want. And then we have our other pocket there, which is going to have a window sheet behind it. So that's the inside. I was just looking at which way I'd stick it down. So I'll just put some glue around here to stick the window sheet down with. Trying really hard not to get any sticky on the actual window sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a block to sit on that, so that I'm not touching it. And then we'll just stick that down on 3 sides. Just go just outside the window sheet. So I did think this could be, if somebody was going travelling, you know, that thing that we used to do. It's quite a cute little card, and you could put money in different currencies in there if they were going to different countries. You could put, I don't know, a phone card. You get phone cards, don't you, for using abroad. Just sort of quite cute, quite sweet. So that is the basic construction there of your card. And then I just made these mats to go in the pockets. So I rounded the corners on these so they would go in and out a bit better, and just look a little bit nicer. And so they need some bubbling down, so that fits in there quite nicely. It depends sort of how thick you put your glue on, so you might want to adjust the sizes slightly depending on your gluing. Because we're putting things in the pocket, I would use a wet glue. I wouldn't use any tape because they tend to stay a little bit sticky, so they would stick to your card. So they're ready, and I thought, oh, they need a little bit of decoration. So in this suite we have the beautiful word dies, and in this there's, it wasn't from that one, it was from this one, Positive Thoughts, that lovely little little stamp there. I've put it in my Stamparatus. I've got me right, I put it at the top. Let's get it right. So, and I've drawn around there where it's going to be, so that I know where to position it, so that I get 3 in a row quite nicely. So I'm using cinnamon cider, so just ink it up. And then we do the hinge step, step it across once. And I like this because it is, it's got like faded sections on it, so it kind of fits with the oldie worldy paper. And it's just, it just looks nice, and I think that peeking over the top is quite nice and decorative. So do the other one in exactly the same way. There we go. So that's those bits done, and then I just picked out different sentiments to sort of complete it. So I sort of imagined that if this person was going travelling, so there we've got adventure awaits and congratulations on this new beginning. which I thought was quite cute. I might make this one a birthday. And so we've got wishing you a year of magical moments and wonderful memories, which I thought was quite a nice saying for going in here, or I'm so happy to celebrate these moments with you. They could go, but I think I'm going to go with the wishing you a year of magical moments, etc. So I've put that in upside down, which is a little bit annoying. Not that it really makes any difference, but so that will go there. So I'm going to get a scrap of Berry Vanilla. I'm not getting a scrap of Berry Vanilla, I'm getting this piece of Berry Vanilla, and because it wants to go in the middle. So what we want to do is just ink that up. And see where it stamps. And it stamps there. But we want to make sure that we don't get anything else stamped in it. So we're going to have to mask off the other sections. So I've got some masking tape. So I've cleaned it. I tested it on some scrap. And so now I went ahead of myself and forgot that I needed to show you what I was doing. So I'm just putting, this just old retired washi tape. Could use masking tape. So I am isolating the one that I want. Yeah, the one that I want. And so that's going there. So I want it to be pretty central. So I'm going to sort of mark the top and the bottom, and then either side. So I can now see where to place my card to get that in the centre. And I'm just going to put that in it right there. So that one now stamped down. So we're just going to, if you had stamping right markers, this would be much simpler. I don't have them in these colours, and you could just ink over the bit that you want. I can see I need to cover that because I'm going to go that way. Like so. And then we take the tape off. And we should be able to stamp that down. That magnet's a little bit in the way. I could have put it up there if I'd have thought about it. But there we go. That is how I've done it, a little bit up there actually, but that will work if you don't then end up putting ink all over it, because you've got ink on your fingers like a bird. But push that out of the way. So that can now go down there. into the window. You might need to trim it slightly. As I say, it depends on your gluing. So I might just take a little tad off the top of that. So that's cute. And if you wanted to put something on the front, you could. You could put a nice happy birthday sentiment on the front if you wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it like that. So that is my 2 wallets. That one going on an adventure. That one just a bit of a happy birthday. And I did think, you know, I like my journals. This could easily be turned into a little journal by just adding some signatures. So I thought I'd show that. So I've just got some tea dyed paper there that I've done. I'm going to cut it. It's 9 inches wide, so we'll go slightly less than the 9 inches. We'll go down. We'll go down to 8 3/4, I think. And we'll cut them down to maybe 3 7/8. I'm going to do that one. 2, 3 7/8. And you can decide how many signatures, pages that you want. So I'm just going to see what this will look like. So just folding it in half. So if it was a little travel wallet, because I say you could just turn it into a little bit of a notebook there to go on the inside. You could sew those in. Oh, and I can see I would need to trim a little bit more off. It's a good size, top and bottom, but it does need trimming just a little bit more off there. Four and an 1/8 there. There, that's better. So you could add more, and then you would just sew those in to create just a little tiny journal, which might be quite cute. We've got 8 pages there. You could add more, you could add less. You've got to sort of think about this closure here, so you couldn't make it too big, but that would be a way of doing it. And then you could either staple them in or sew them in. You could even do it before you stuck it down, so you were just sewing onto this middle section, or you could get your machine out, because it's not very much, and you could just sew up there to fit that in. I think that's quite cool. Okay, so I just decided I'd do a happy birthday. So I know the happy birthday is going out to there, so I'm just going to put that on there, and I'm going to just ink up the happy birthday. It doesn't matter about the bit above because I'm going to die cut it. So the other one was a little bit more awkward because we weren't die cutting, so we wanted it in the center. Whereas this is going to get die cut out, so it doesn't matter. And I think this sentiment's really good because it's got those sort of little lines in the happy birthday, which I quite liked. So then it's just a matter of getting the die, and this one gets, you can see where I've used it before, this one gets cut out with that. So can just lay it like that on your die cutting machine. You could have had a bit bigger. I could have done it in that one. You could cut it out with that one. So although that's the one it's designed for, you can actually use different ones. I might actually go for that one just to be different. So that's it, die cut out. So you see, fits in that quite nicely. And I quite like because it's stitched. It sort of goes with the stitching that we've done, and that could just go on there in the middle, or you could put it on the front. It's a bit of me that's undecided. I'm going to put it on there. So I'm just going to stick that down. I quite like it off centre, so as if it's got like a designer label on it. And that's it. So there we have our two wallets cards finished. So there we have a nice birthday card, and you can put yourself a little gift card in there and write your message on these. And then this one I turned into a bit of a journal. I sewed in those. I added two more sheets there so that we've got a bit more room for writing. And yeah, I mean, that could have all your travel details and things and addresses and whatever on there so that you don't lose them. So hope you like them. I think they're quite cute. All the details will be in my blog, which will be linked down below, and I'll link to the original blog hop, and there's links to my shop if you wish to buy any of these things as well. See you again soon. Stay safe.